Hello and welcome to Participle Clauses and Relative Clauses 3. Your new task until next week, next Wednesday, is to look at your 6 relative clauses from Relative Clauses and Participle Clauses 1, way back when. Okay? And I want you to look at your 6 sentences that you wrote down and check whether you can substitute the relative clause with a participle clause. And if it's possible, I want you to write down a version with a participle clause, of course, and if it isn't possible, I want you to write down why. As always, upload your results to Moodle to Relative Clauses and Participle Clauses 3 until the set date. So if you're ready to go now, you can stop watching and get on with the task. But if you have a question like this, how do I even check my sentence for the possibility of a participle clause substitution? You can keep watching now. If we think back to our last lesson, we have to ask ourselves 2 questions, which are, first, do we have a relative pronoun plus a verb? Because if yes, you can totally use a participle clause instead of a relative clause. But if we have a relative pronoun plus, for example, a noun, nope, you can't do it and you shouldn't do it. So when you get a yes on the first question, you can move on to the second question. Is the verb active? Or is it passive? Because when it's active, you have to use a present participle clause. And when it's passive, you have to use a past participle clause. So in short, when you approach a sentence with a relative clause, first, you're going to find the relative pronoun, then check for the first rule, and then check for the second rule. In the next step, I'm going to show you some examples how to do it. All right. In the following, I've got some relative clauses from your previous task that you've submitted to me. Okay, the first one is, the minister who works in the church mostly does a good job. So if we think back to our approach, the first thing we do is we identify the relative pronoun, which is here, who. Okay, second task, we're going to check whether it's a relative pronoun plus a verb. So the next word we're looking at is works. So who works is relative pronoun plus a verb. So check for that. And we can move on to the last one, which is the verb works active or is it passive? In this case, it's active because, the minister works. We have a simple present. So this means we need a present participle clause, which is working in the church. We always start with a participle. In this case, present participle. So our improved sentence would be, the minister working in the church mostly does a good job. And we're done here. For the second example, we have, that's an attitude which I don't like. So we're going to approach it like always. Relative pronoun, in this case, is which. And the word after the relative pronoun is I. So your alarm bells should be ringing. This is not a verb. We can't substitute this with a participle clause. And our last example is, America isn't the land of dreams, which is promised to everyone. So let's check for the relative pronoun. We have which, and the words that follow the relative pronoun are is promised, and that is of course a passive construction. So as a result, we of course need a past participle construction. So that would be promised to everyone. And our new and improved version would be, America isn't the land of dreams promised to everyone. Alrighty, so this concludes this tutorial. If you need help, you can always send me an email with your questions. I'm looking forward to your results, and I see you next time.